Jack Carter stood at the edge of the glass chamber. The figure inside didn't move. She was still quiet and calm. Her eyes were closed. Her red hair floated gently in the chamber's soft air current. Her skin was pale white, marked with glowing red lines that moved slowly under her surface, like veins of light. She was not human, but she looked almost human. He had been told she was a gift, present from the Galactic Union, a test, some said. Others thought she was a trick, a weapon, a silent spy. Jack did not believe in gifts from strangers. He had fought in 2 off-world campaigns and trusted only what he could see and shoot. The room was quiet, filled only with the hum of machines. Alira, the name they gave her, had arrived in a silver container 2 weeks ago. Since then, she hadn't said much. She answered questions. She followed commands. But there was no life in her voice. Jack had orders to observe. No touching, no connecting. Just report behavior. But every time he looked into her eyes, he felt something, like a small pull deep inside his chest. He didn't like it. Feelings were dangerous. He'd learned that the hard way. He sat at his desk and opened the file. A video played. It was from the team that had built her, a mix of alien science and human DNA. Designed to understand emotions, built to study connection. A test, yes, but also a message. It's a chance to show if humans could care. The door slid open. Lyra stood there, not walking, not speaking, just watching him. Her golden eyes glowed in the dim light. Her face was calm, beautiful in a strange, unreal way. "Do you need something?" Jack asked. He didn't look up from his screen. She took a step forward, then another. Her hand touched her chest. Her fingers moved slowly across her glowing marks. "I was a present human," she said in a soft voice. Jack stopped typing. He turned to her. "Why haven't you touched me yet?" she asked. He stared at her. His hands froze. The room felt colder. "What do you mean?" he asked. "I was given to you. You were my match. I was made to connect, to be close. That is why I am here." Jack stood up. He walked around his desk and stood in front of her. She didn't move. She looked up at him with eyes that seemed far older than she should be. "I don't want a gift. I didn't ask for you," he said. "That doesn't change what I am," she said. "You do not have to fear me. I'm not afraid of you," Jack said. She reached out her hand. It stopped just short of his chest. Her fingers trembled. "You fear what you feel when I am near," she said. "You fear your past? But I am not your past." Jack stepped back. His heart beat faster. Memories flashed in his mind. A burning city, a screaming girl, a broken radio, loss. He had buried those images deep. "You don't know me," he said. "No," she replied, "but I want to." Shh. She turned and walked back into the chamber. The door closed behind her. Jack stood there for a long time. He stared at the closed door. Then he looked at his hand. It was shaking. He sat down again. The video file still played. The words echoed in his head. "She will not force a bond. She will only respond. The test is not if you accept her. The test is if you can see her." Jack looked up at the chamber. Alira sat on the floor, her back against the wall, her eyes on him. She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She just waited. He leaned back in his chair. Something inside him shifted. A small thing. A quiet thing. But it moved. Outside the base, the desert wind howled. Inside, 2 beings sat in silence. One waiting. One wondering. The desert sun burned over the base, but inside, the cold air felt heavy. Jack sat in the control room, his eyes on the screen. Alira was there, sitting in the corner of her chamber. Her arms rested on her knees, and her head leaned slightly against the glass wall. She looked peaceful, but Jack knew she was thinking. She always was. He had avoided her for 2 days. No questions, no tests. He told the team he needed time to write reports. That was a lie. He just didn't know what to do next. He watched the video files again. The creators called her the first emotional bridge between species. Not a weapon, not a servant. Something more. Jack walked down the hall to the chamber. He paused at the door, then entered. Alira looked up, eyes calm. "I want to ask you something," Jack said. She nodded. "Do you feel pain?" "Yes," she said. Emotional pain. Yes, she said again. Why? Because I was made to understand you. You're kind. To understand fear, joy, sadness. If I do not feel, I cannot know you. Jack pulled a chair and sat down across from her. He looked at her hands. They were smooth, almost like a human's, but not quite. Do you hate being here? No, but I do not like feeling empty. I was meant to connect. That is how I stay alive inside. Jack didn't answer. He remembered a time long ago, sitting across from someone else. Someone who had tried to reach him. He had pushed them away. Alira leaned forward. Can I ask something now? He nodded. Why are you alone? Jack looked down. Because it's easier. People break. They leave. Or they die. And when that happens, it breaks something inside you. Then you build walls, she said. Yes, but you are still broken behind the walls. Jack gave a half smile. It was the first time in weeks he had done that. Maybe not. They sat in silence again. This time it felt different. Less cold. Later, Alira began reading. She asked for books. Stories about humans, old ones. She liked paper more than screens. Jack brought her some. She read in the corner of the chamber, slowly turning each page. She asked about the characters, why they cried, why they laughed, why they lied. Jack answered each one, even when the answers hurt. One evening, she asked about music. Jack brought an old player and let it run through songs from his past. She listened with her eyes closed, swaying slightly. When the music played a sad song, her face changed. She placed her hand on her heart. This sound pulls something in me, she said. It does that to all of us, Jack replied. She opened her eyes. You lost someone? I can feel it in your voice. Jack nodded. He didn't want to speak, but the truth slipped out. My sister. She died during the first mission to Mars base, and we were close. I couldn't save her. I am sorry, Alira said.
But she trusted me.
I was trained to protect. I failed. No. You did not fail. You were human. Jack turned to her. There was no pity in her face, only understanding. That night he dreamed, not of fire or loss, but of quiet. A voice beside him in the dark, soft and calm. The next morning, Alira greeted him with a new question. Do you dream? She asked. Not usually. Last night I did. Was I there? He paused. Yes, she smiled. Then we are closer. Jack didn't answer. But inside, the wall cracked a little more. He walked her to the outside yard. For the first time, she felt the sun. She lifted her face to the sky. This light feels different, she said. It's real, Jack said. They stood side by side. No words, just wind and heat. For the first time, Jack didn't feel like she was a project or a gift. She was just Alira, and she was starting to matter. A sharp knock hit the door to Jack's office. Stood up slowly and opened it. Captain Roy Harper stepped in. His uniform was clean, his face hard. Behind him stood 2 armed guards. We have orders, Roy said. They want the asset moved to a higher-level lab in DC. Jack frowned. She's not ready for that. She's still learning. They don't care. A new agency took control of her case. They want to run tests, deeper ones. Jack glanced at the window. Alira was in the courtyard again, hands gently moving over the flowers she had planted. She didn't know yet. They'll take her apart, Jack said. Roy lowered his voice. They're saying she's too perfect, not natural. That's scaring people. Jack looked at the guards. Tomorrow morning, you have until then. After that, she's not your problem. They left. The door closed. Jack stood there, heart heavy. That night he walked to Alira's chamber. She greeted him with a smile. Her eyes glowed softly. Shh. I found a news story, she said. It's about a man who saved someone he was told to destroy. Jack forced a smile. Sounds like fiction. She tilted her head. Is it? Jack sat beside her. His hand rested near hers but didn't touch. They're coming for you, he said. They want to take you apart. Study you. She was quiet. Her fingers touched the red lines on her arms. I was afraid this would happen, she said. Why didn't you say anything? I didn't want you to worry. You already carry enough pain. Jack stood. We're leaving tonight. Alira looked up. You'll be hunted. I've been hunted before. They moved quickly. Jack packed food, water, and an old ID chip that still worked in off-grid zones. Alira changed into a gray jacket and pulled her hair back. She moved fast, silent, like someone who had planned this long ago. They slipped out through a side gate, past cameras Jack had disabled hours earlier. The night was dark, the stars sharp above the desert. A truck waited in a nearby garage. Jack drove. Alira sat beside him, eyes fixed on the road. "Where will we go?" she asked. "An old station. No one uses it now. We'll figure out the rest later." They drove through the night. Jack didn't speak much. Alira watched him. "You are afraid," she said, "of what they'll do to you, not just that." "You're afraid of what I mean to you," Jack didn't answer. At dawn, they reached the station. It was half buried in sand, long forgotten. Jack opened the heavy door and led her inside. The walls were cracked, the lights flickered, but it was safe for now. Alira walked to a broken window.
Ow.
She looked out at the desert. "I used to wonder what freedom was. Now I think it's this, not being owned, not being used." Jack nodded. "You're not a thing, you never were," she turned. "Then why did they build me like one?" Jack didn't have an answer. He sat down and pulled out a small transmitter. "We can't stay here long. They'll track us." Sent a coded message to someone he trusted. Then he looked at Alira. "If anything happens to me, keep moving. Don't let them take you." She stepped closer. "You don't have to protect me alone. You're not trained for this. I've learned more than they planned, and I feel more than they expected." He looked at her. Her face was calm, but her eyes were full. "You're changing," he said. "I know." Outside, a sound broke the silence. A drone passed overhead. "They found us," Jack said. Alira moved to the control panel. "I can jam their signal for a short time." He stared. "You know how to do that?" "Yes. I watched them when they trained here." She pressed a few buttons. The drone signal blinked and vanished. Jack smiled. "You might be better than me." "I don't want to be better. I want to be with you." He looked at her. For the first time, the space between them felt less like a wall and more like a bridge. The war had not started, but the choice had. And Jack had made his. Jack sat beside the broken radio, trying to tune into any old frequency. Static filled the room, no messages, no voices. Just the empty sound of a world that didn't care. Alira moved slowly around the dusty room. Her hands touched the walls, the wires, the broken screens. Her glow was softer now. Her eyes looked tired. Something inside her was fading. "You need rest?" Jack said. "I need purpose," she replied. Jack stood up. He walked to her. "You're not just a message. You're not just data. You're real. You saved me. You made me feel again." She turned to him. "And helped me live, not hide." He knew she was right. Running wouldn't change what she was, but showing the world the truth might. "I know someone," he said. She used to be part of the data network. Before the cuts, can we trust her? She once saved my life. I think she'll help again." They left the station that night. Jack found an old bike under the sand. He fixed it with spare parts. Alira sat behind him, arms around his waist. They rode east, across dry land and long shadows. By morning, they reached an old facility hidden in the rocks. Jack knocked on the heavy door. A long pause followed. Then it opened slowly. Maria stood there, older than before, but her eyes sharp. "You look like a man in trouble," she said. "I am," Jack replied. "And this is Alira." Maria stared at her. "She's the one they're hunting. She's more than what they say." Maria nodded. "Come in." Inside, the place buzzed with quiet machines. Screens showed data feeds from all over. Jack told Maria everything about the gift, the chase, the truth. Maria listened without interrupting. Then she stood. "We can send a signal, a real one. Full video. Story proof. They'll shut it down." Jack said. "What if we use the old relay satellite? It's the one no one tracks anymore." They worked fast. Maria set up the equipment. Jack wrote the message. Alira recorded her voice. She spoke of her creation, her time on Earth, her feelings. "I was made to study humans," she said, "but I ended up understanding them. I saw fear, but I also saw care. I saw pain, and I saw healing. I do not want to be owned. I want to choose, like any living being." Jack watched her speak. Her voice was steady, but her light flickered. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I feel tired." "But I'm not afraid." They finished the message. Maria started the upload. The signal climbed through the sky, reaching the old satellite. "They'll come fast now," Maria said. "I know," Jack replied. An hour later, screens started lighting up. People were watching, not just officials, civilians. Students, scientists, workers, thousands of views, then millions. Alira's story was out, but the silence didn't last. Drones moved toward their location, soldiers followed. "Here," Maria said. Jack and Alira moved to the back exit. "I'll hold them," Maria said. "You'll be caught," Jack said. "I'll be remembered," she replied. They ran through the tunnels. Outside, the desert wind was rising. Alira stumbled. Jack caught her. "You're getting weaker." "I pushed too hard. I wasn't made for this kind of stress. We'll find help." They reached an old truck buried under canvas. Jack started the engine. It groaned, but worked. They drove into the hills, away from the noise. As the sun began to set, Alira leaned her head on his shoulder. "Did we do enough?" she asked. "We showed the world. That's more than anyone else tried, and it was worth it." Jack drove with one hand, the other gently holding hers. Behind them, the world was changing. People were talking. Some were angry, some were afraid, but many were curious. Alira closed her eyes. Her light dimmed a little more. Jack held on. The fight wasn't over. But now they weren't alone. The truck rolled to a stop near a small hill. Jack turned off the engine. He stepped out and looked around. No dust trail behind them. No drones in the sky. For now, they were safe. Alira sat in the seat, quiet and still. Her glow had faded more. Her skin looked pale, and her breathing was slow. "We need help," Jack said. "There may be a medical post nearby, one used for old mining teams." Jack checked the old maps. The post showed up 3 miles north. He helped Alira out of the truck. She leaned on him as they walked, step by step, over dry land and sharp stone. They reached the post by evening. It was broken, but still standing. Inside, Jack found power cells. He hooked them to the old bed system. Alira lay down. The machine hummed and started to scan her. "This will slow the damage," Jack said. "Not fix it, but it'll help." Alira looked up at him. "Are people still watching?" Jack checked his screen. Her story had spread. News channels were talking. Some defended her, others attacked. But the truth was out. The world had seen her face. "Millions have seen you now. Some believe, some doubt, but they all know. Then I'm not just a gift anymore. No, you're something they can't ignore." Days passed. Alira rested. Jack kept watch. He built small barriers around the post. He fixed the radio and sent updates to Maria's contacts. People started sending messages back. Supporters, helpers, even former soldiers. One day, a small drone dropped supplies near their camp. Food, water, tools, and a note. "She deserves to live. We stand with you." Jack read it out loud. Alira smiled. "Then we are not alone anymore." That night, a call came through the radio. It was a woman from the Global Rights Council. Her name was Ellen. She spoke clearly and calmly. "We want to meet her, in peace. No weapons, just talk." Jack looked at Alira. She nodded. "I'll go with you," she said. They agreed to meet in a desert clearing. 2 days later, a clean ship landed. A few people stepped out. No guns, no armor, just open hands. Alira stood in front of them. Her body was weak, but her voice was strong. "I am not property. I am not a machine. I feel, I learn, I choose." Ellen listened. Then she spoke. "You have opened a door we cannot close. The world will change because of you. I don't want power. I want freedom. If you will have it." They offered Alira a new place, a safe one. With others like her, beings made to serve, but born to live, a place where she could lead, teach, grow. Jack looked at her. "You don't have to go alone," she smiled. "I don't want to." They left the desert together. The ship rose slowly, leaving behind the dust and silence. Months later, Alira stood in a garden under a new sky. Children walked near her, some human, some not. She told stories. Stories of war, of peace, of fear, and hope. Jack stood nearby, no longer a soldier, just a man who had made a choice. One day, Alira sat beside him under a tree. "Do you remember what I asked you the first time?" Jack nodded. "I do. I was made to be a present. But now I am free. You didn't own me. You saw me. And you became more than anyone expected." She reached out and took his hand. This time, he didn't pull away. They sat in silence, the wind soft around them. In a world that had once feared her, she had found her place. Not as a gift, but as someone who chose her own path, someone who had been chosen in return.